District 96, hopefully with your endorsement. Radley Balco, some of the things he said are especially important to me. I was actually, and hopefully this doesn't get any dissent, but I was a felony drugs prosecutor in Baldwin County for about a year and a half. And some of the things I saw there motivate me to do what I'm doing today. You know, we talk about militarized police and we talk about civil asset forfeiture, and I'd like to take just a quick story or anecdote about something I encountered when I was a prosecutor. Now, civil asset forfeiture, I'm not sure if you understand how it works, but essentially the state files a civil suit against either property or, in the case I'm going to talk to you about, cash. These two Hispanic gentlemen were driving the interstate and were pulled over by Loxley Police Department. Loxley Police Department ran a drug dog around their car. The drug dog alerted on the car. They found no drugs. So what did they do? Let them go? No, they didn't let them go. They took the car, they took the money and said good luck. About $20,000 of money that these gentlemen had collected to take back to their family in Mexico. So when I became a prosecutor, this file was handed to me. I didn't file for this, and it immediately sent up red flags. I had to go and speak to the district attorney and also to the police officers in charge of this issue, and eventually I was able to get authority to dismiss this case. And unfortunately, this probably is not an isolated issue. This is not something that only happened once. This is something that fortunately got to the right person who caught it and was able to get rid of it. So civil asset forfeiture and the war on drugs are especially important to me, and those aren't the only issues though. Now I'm running against someone, a Republican who's a current prosecutor, and I always refer to myself as a nice prosecutor. My focus was on doing what was right and doing what was fair, and I can't say that all prosecutors have the same values. Most, as Mr. Balco stated, would prefer to win and get convictions, and that's something that I couldn't do. Now, I only served in that position for about a year and a half. As you might imagine, someone who entirely opposes the war on drugs and indeed drug prohibition in general, it was a difficult job for me to take. But I did learn some lessons there, and it, if anything, strengthened my opposition to the war on drugs. I had an opportunity to talk with Mr. Dillman last night about an initiative and referendum, and frankly, I think that initiative and referendum in the state of Alabama are one of the ways that we can attack the drug laws. Because let's face the facts, the legislator, the majority of the legislator, they're not going to vote in this current climate to change medical marijuana laws, to change drug prohibition in general. And I think that supporting INR, as Mr. Dillman does, is something that we can all look toward to change things that we know are unjust that potentially the legislator wouldn't agree with us on. I'll admit one other thing that probably won't make it very popular. When I was 17 years old, I had a Bush Cheney sticker on the back of my car. That was my last dalliance with statism. Now, of course, I've supported candidates such as Ron Paul and Rand Paul. I was president of students for Ron Paul when I was in law school in 2008, and I think there are, good candidates in some of the major parties, Justin Amash for one. But ultimately, I realized that there's only one home for me, and that's the Libertarian Party. And I've been lucky to be involved with a great county affiliate with Laura and all the other folks in Baldwin County, and they've been very supportive in the efforts thus far. And I hope to run a good, strong campaign, and I hope to do so with your endorsement. Thank you.
So that was Matt Shelby. Now we shall proceed to, questions. I'm sorry, there are questions. I totally screwed that up.
Absolutely.
All
Any
right,
questions?
so we have left on this agenda item 5.5 minutes.
Awesome. Can I beat you, Michael? Yes.
Forgive me for being unknowledgeable, but
That's okay.
What counties does your district serve?
It's primarily Baldwin County and then a little sliver of North Mobile County and the coast of Mobile. It's probably about 70% Baldwin County.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Paul?
Yeah, I heard you're a really good petitioner. Do you want to share any of your secrets with the other volunteers getting signatures out there?
Well, one thing I found, and this is just petitioning for myself, when I petitioned and said I need to get the Libertarian Party on the ballot, I had a lot of people walk away in Baldwin County. Now, Baldwin County is one of the more conservative areas in the country. When I introduced myself and said, my name's Matt Shelby and I'm a third-party candidate and I'm trying to get my name on the ballot, people are a lot more receptive. Now, that particular strategy is not going to help unless you're the candidate, but I think personalizing it helped for me at least. Yes, ma'am.
I understand that you only have 5 minutes. If you could give us your brief platform on abortion, death penalty, and immigration, which will be, you are running for a high office.
Sure.
Not the other offices we've talked about weren't important, but this is state legislature, and I would like to know.
Okay. Well, on capital punishment, I oppose that morally, legally, and in all possible terms. I worked with the Capital Litigation Clinic when I was in law school, and we helped defend people who were accused of capital offenses. We actually were lucky enough to have a case dismissed against someone who was charged with killing what we found to be a stillborn child. There was the forensic scientist who decided the child was actually alive upon birth was discredited, and we had that case dismissed. But I oppose every form of the death penalty. As to abortion, I am personally pro-life, and I would classify myself as pro-life. That being said, and I've discussed this with some of y'all last night, I don't necessarily see a way that we can do away with the current state of the law. It's constitutional law, and I think it's a losing fight, and I think it's a losing issue. I would classify myself as pro-life. That being said, I don't see any way around what the current state of the law is.
So,
Please.
Our party platform says the party doesn't think the government should be involved in abortion at all, and you're saying that your position is different than that?
My position is that
That you would like to change the law, but
no, my position is
you can't, so don't.
well, it's constitutional law, and I'm not running for an office that would either approve Supreme Court justices, appellate court justices in the federal government. That being said, again, as I was discussing last night, while I think it would be wonderful if abortion wasn't an issue at all, I don't think there's any way to do away with the current state of the law where you do more good than harm. I think ultimately you'd have more harm done than good, and I would oppose any changes based upon that.
But you will be in a position to make laws making it more difficult for women in Alabama to get abortions.
Again, I don't have any intent to change any current laws.
So you won't vote in favor of making abortions more difficult for women in the state of Alabama?
Give me an example. What do you mean? There's not a law that says, let's make abortions more difficult. Is there?
There has been a lot of legislation that has been...
If you can give me an example, I'll comment on it.
The restrictions to the hallway width for that you require that abortion clinics have the same hallway width that will accommodate a gurney as a surgical facility.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the exact statute, but it would be,
I don't
the
know the
requirement would, what's the thought behind the statute? Would it be
The
to...
thought behind the statute was that it would close abortion clinics around the country. You couldn't
Well,
afford
what was the pretextual thought behind the statute, I guess? Is it so that you should be able to transport people on gurneys in an abortion clinic, same as in a hospital, in the case that you need to do that?
Texas passed that law in order to make a...
Oh, Texas did. Okay, not Alabama.
It was proposed in Alabama.
Oh, it was proposed in Alabama.
I'd like to know how
Okay.
you
Where's it pending right now? Is it in committee? Is it?
I don't know, sir.
Okay.
I don't care where it is. If it was proposed tomorrow and we had nominated and elected you,
Okay.
how would you vote on it?
I'd have to look at it more. I'm not sure if the idea is that there's an abortion that goes awry and they're on a gurney and we need to transport them through the hallway, same as you would in a hospital. I don't necessarily think that would be a problem. That being said, I mean, do we need to have a private business or institution of any kind? Should the government be able to regulate that? I think that's a better argument. Why does the government have any say in what a private hospital, private institution, how wide their halls are? So I think I'd oppose it on those grounds.
Would you oppose
Yeah.
any legislation to reduce the time from which a woman can get an abortion? Currently, I think it's 22 weeks is the cutoff date. Would you support anything to say cut it off at 12 weeks?
Again, I think I would oppose a change simply because any changes would result in more harm than good.
We're out of time on this agenda item unless there is a move to extend. Hearing none, thank you, Matt. vote to endorse Matt Shelby for the Alabama House of Representatives, District 96. This will take a 2/3 vote. All those in favor of endorsement, raise your hands. All those opposed, raise your hands. Clearly has 2/3. Mr. Shelby is endorsed. Congratulations.